by city pastor and a Muslim cleric. And in sports, Uganda's Chelimo, Cheptegei and Kiplimo enter 5,000 meters final. Hello once again. Let's get started. President Yoweri Museveni has received the Kabaka of Uganda, His Royal Highness Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II, who paid a courtesy call on him at State House Lodge, Nakasero. During the meeting, President Museveni and the Kabaka discussed development matters of mutual interest between the kingdom and the government. The two leaders briefly exchanged pleasantries, both acknowledging that they had taken long without meeting before going into a closed-door meeting. The Kabaka was accompanied by a four-man delegation, including Prince David Wasajja and the Katikkiro of Uganda, Charles Peter Mayiga. Now, the Katikkiro of Uganda, Charles Peter Mayiga, said the meeting between His Majesty, the Kabaka of Uganda, Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II, and President Yoweri Museveni will yield fruitful results that will benefit the kingdom. The Katikkiro spoke to the media shortly after the meeting at Bulange, Mengo. Let's take a look.
It was a courtesy visit, but as is always the practice, even during courtesy calls, two principals are always likely to have matters of mutual interest which they discuss, and that's what exactly happened this afternoon. His Excellency the President and Ssaabasajja Kabaka have discussed matters of mutual interest to the Kingdom of Uganda and to our country, Uganda. And as may be expected, when leaders talk about important issues, you always are hopeful that the outcome will be beneficial to the people they lead. In that case, we are very hopeful that the courtesy visit by Ssaabasajja Kabaka to the President will also yield fruitful results to Uganda and to Uganda. Thank you very much.
Now, the Minister for Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, has warned business communities in Kampala that government will not hesitate closing down businesses for non-compliance of the set SOPs, and if that continues to take stage. In an interview with UBC, Kabanda also revealed that Kampala City Urban Division Councils can now convene, but in compliance to the COVID-19 SOPs. Robert Onyango has more.
With only 2 days of resumption, violations of the set COVID-19 standard operating procedures, like a breach of social distancing, are dictating the order of the day in downtown Kampala.
Well, if you find any person carrying a passenger without a mask, the driver and the conductor are going to answerable for that. Even that one is not putting on a mask. I'm assuring you, my team is going to work, and it's already on ground, but they should comply with all the SOPs. But failure to comply, we shall lock you up.
In an interview with UBC, the Minister for Kampala Affairs, Hajat Minsa Kabanda, highlighted some of the outcomes of the Monday engagement with Kampala arcade operators and landlords.
If they don't comply, we should not open. So we talked to them, we told them they should, it's a must to put on a mask.
Although arcades are not fully reopened, the debate over accumulated rental areas remains a worry too.
For us, as government, we don't have shops. We don't own shops. But we are pleading, we are talking to those landlords. At least this has been a lockdown. People don't have money. And it was 2 weeks after the first lockdown. So people had not yet stabilized. So what we want, at least let them behave like human beings, let them behave like Ugandans. They can talk, because we cannot dictate on them.
On Monday, 2nd August 2021, police deployed heavily at the old tax park to deny tax operators access to it, as they wanted to forcefully occupy the facility for their daily transport operations. However, Hajati Minsa Kabanda reveals why the delays on the reopening of the facility for the drivers and tax operators.
Tax park, we want it to be opened, but it's not yet complete. It has no toilet. We need to put lights. We need to put CCTV cameras and a hospital and a fence around. Once those are finished, we are going to open up, but there is no other problem.
Kabanda also raised the green light for division urban councils to start convening, but in compliance to the set standard operating procedures.
They have to take a COVID test, and we encourage them also to go for immunization as government workers.
As government moves into organizing the transport sector in the central business district, the introduction of bus services is in the final stages.
And they're not going to work only in Kampala, but they are going to work in Kampala metropolitan area. Then when we appreciate what they've done, they will go to other areas. But still, I want to tell you this, that these buses are already on ground, and though that company has given us buses in prisons, there are 6 buses there, given by those people, the metal company, and the Chisolo area, there are about 5 buses.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Kampala Capital City Authority and the Office of the RCC Kampala have partnered with Uganda Police Force, Uganda People's Defence Forces and Building Control Officers to form a team that will conduct routine inspections of arcades and malls to ensure compliance with the presidential directives for reopening. Now, while launching the exercise in Kampala, the Deputy RCC Kampala, Hajat Hawa Ntege, said the aim is to ensure compliance as the arcades open.
Early morning on Monday, 2nd August, some arcade owners rushed and opened their buildings to resume operations after the 42 days of the lockdown, following a presidential directive that allowed the buildings to open, but after complying with the set guidelines, which the city leadership says was misunderstood. A team from the Physical Planning and Public Health Department of the KCCA has partnered with building officers, UPDF, military police and Uganda Police to kickstart an exercise of inspecting the arcades to see if they comply to the set guidelines for reopening. Through this exercise, the arcade which will comply will be issued a certificate of compliance.
The teams we have constituted, we want to make sure that everything is done in the right time, and we want everything to be done in as far as ensuring the elimination of COVID-19 in our people of Kampala.
The multi-sectoral team is going to inspect Chikubo to ensure illegal structures are demolished and also see that malls and arcades adhere to the standard operating procedures.
For Chikubo area, they're supposed to make sure that there is no vending, but also the lanes in Chikubo are clear, and we also get rid of illegal structures. So this is an exercise that is supposed to, as part of the presidential directive.
The Minister for Kampala, Minsa Kabanda, explains why the President emphasized installation of CCTV cameras, registration of tenants and customers in arcades.
Someone on a CCTV camera can simply see that someone is entering the shop without a mask, someone has not washed hands, someone is doing this and this. Because someone in a control room can easily come and say, no, there are too many people in the shop, let some go outside then others remain inside.
The Mayor Kampala Central Division Salim Uhuru has urged the team to issue certificates of compliance instantly to avoid people who have started to impersonate as KCCA staff.
We have already got intruders. 2 people have already called me that people impersonating to be KCCA officers. So kindly, if any person is trying to impersonate or get money from me, arrest him. Arrest him and bring him immediately to us.
People who operate businesses in Kampala, however, propose that the inspection needed to be done when shops are open to clearly ascertain the compliance of the standard operating procedures. Wadulo Makanold, UBC News.
So government has been tasked by Parliament to consider moving to repeal laws that establish some agencies that were named for merging. Excuse me. Minister for Public Service Wilson Maruli Mukasa says the merging process is being carefully studied to ensure proper implementation. He made this assurance following a concern to merging Uganda National Roads Authority with Ministry of Works, which David Kabanda says will delay road infrastructure development. Henry Kurut has more.
I, Maruli Mukasa Wilson,
no sooner had he taken oath as an ex-officio member of Parliament,
swear in the name of the Almighty God,
than a matter of national concern came his way.
Whereas some agencies were retained, a decision was made to abolish UNRA and have its current services executed by the Ministry of Works and Transport.
Kasamia County Member of Parliament David Kabanda was concerned that Uganda National Roads Authority was listed among the government agencies to be merged with mother ministries.
I would pray that UNRA should remain a semi-autonomous institution but have the current structure reviewed to optimize resources and reduce overhead costs.
It was incumbent upon Minister Maruli Mukasa, from whose Ministry of Public Service this proposal originated, to allay these fears.
the functions of UNRA are not going to be lost. So all these good benefits that he has outlined in the petition are not going to be lost.
Even when recently appointed State Minister for Works, Musa Echweru, joined his public service counterpart in explaining this, MPs were not convinced.
What we have done, Madam Speaker, we were allowed by the same cabinet to send our written petitions to the Minister of Public Service. Then the Minister of Public Service studies, compares our petition with the studies they have undertaken, then it comes to a comprehensive report that they will table before Cabinet, and the Cabinet will debate it.
It is very absurd that Cabinet sits wherever they sit, and they think they are going to overrun the laws created by this House. I need your clarification. When are you coming to Parliament?
We don't know when the merger will take place. We have not even looked at the laws to repeal or uphold, and now you tell the agencies to stop recruiting, and you cause a panic in the agencies.
Whereas it is in agreement that some agencies need to be merged, it is also required that the process is handled with utmost care.
So I want to know from the Honorable Minister, has the merger begun? We may be here trying to discuss when actually the when has already happened.
Some of these agencies really need to be merged. For example, what would be the difference between the Uganda Wildlife Authority and the Uganda Wildlife Education Center at Entebbe? Sincerely.
We noticed there was duplication of work, and also some of the agencies were now weakening their mother ministries, and therefore we thought that if you merge some of them, then those sectors will be much more stronger in terms of delivering services.
About 2 years ago, it was agreed that some government agencies be merged with mother ministries to reduce on public expenditure. It is a process government says is being carefully studied for effective service delivery. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Reportedly repeated.
Now, the Ministry of Water and Environment is finalizing plans on how settlers on wetlands, water banks and encroachers on forest land will be dealt with after several attempts of the ministry officials engaging them on their illegal stay on gazetted catchment areas, but all in vain. In an interview with UBC's Ellen Jazamba, State Minister for Water and Environment Beatrice Anywa said all illegal encroachers will be evicted without any form of compensation from government.
Last month, Cabinet had a meeting chaired by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, but key on agenda was to evict all settlers on wetlands, settlers on water banks and those in forests. At Uganda Nursery Village, residents say some people come in deep hours of the night with trucks of maram accompanied by security operatives from private security firms, pour heaps of soil. By morning, what used to be a visibly submerged place in water, you only wake up to find a dry land. At the same swamp, one will see iron sheets used for fencing the land. Our cameras also captured a new foundation of a house soon to be erected within a swamp. These residents here are pursuing tough questions to government as to why it focuses on evicting the disadvantaged common man and keeps a tight lip to those alleged to be entrenched with state power, evading gazetted and restricted water catchment areas.
Omuntu nave nasangawo misota nasangawo timba nasangawo ki nazire ettaka nazivu ye nateekawo byayagala nga beyambisa naye ateze kisinga okutuluma ennyo ffe nga batuuze ababeera mu kitundu muno ettaka eryo baliyiwawo na byakwerinda ogenda okulaba emmotoka ziri muleeya bayina emmundu bayina ki kati abo bennyini batassa kitiibwa mu President Museveni kuba already President Museveni yakulira emmundu naye ate babanga abayiwa ettaka tubalaba na mmundu
simanyi ddala ekitoogo n'omuntu ekiyina omugaso ku gavumenti kiki naye mu kibuga siraba mugaso gwa kitoogo bandirisa abantu ne bazimba abantu ne beekulakulanya ensi neevaayo naye tunaabeera mu bwavu mpaka ddi
twafuuka bangi luli bajjajjaffe baali batono eka tetulina gye tulaga kati tuli bangi tetulina gye tulaga.
However, Awan Suraj, a resident in Nasser, says illegal encroachers on the wetlands should all be evicted because they are contributing to climate change effects.
100% government obutatira kuliiso buli muntu yenna oba munene oba mutono babanga bamala obutonde bwansi obubeezaawo ensi obutonde bwensi kintu kikulu nnyo eri ensi kitegeera ayo nkiwagira oba bajjawo omuntu yenna ali mu ntobazi oba ani kasabanga yagulawo akimanyi nti kitobazi nze nkiwagira bamujjawo nga tebasosoddeemu oba munene oba mutono.
Kisaba gavumenti erina kwogera bulungi n'abantu abo nga ffe era abavubuka emirimu gitukuze ate amayumba agaga nti agalayisi ge twandipangisiza gye gabeera.
Whereas the encroachers say they are not ready to move, State Minister for Water and Environment Beatrice Anywa says no one will stand in their way.
Come and we talk and listen to us what you are supposed to do. Then you survive. But if you say you are going to rise up and agitate against this, I think it's not going to be of help.
In the recent River Nyamwamba floods, Ntoroko and Bulisa, Anywa asserts that nature was reclaiming her territory that man had taken over.
River Nyamwamba was diverted from its God-given channel because we wanted to build the Klembe mines. Now we diverted the river to flow in a different direction. The river is saying, no, I don't belong here. This is my way. And that is the effect of River Nyamwamba in Kasese.
According to Section 36 of the National Environment Act, provides for the protection of wetlands and prohibits reclamation, erection of illegal structures, and empowers authorities to demolish any structures that are a threat to their significance in the environment. Helen Barbara Jizamba, reporting for UBC TV News.
With that, we take a quick break. We return with more details. This is News Tonight.
Today in history.
On August 3rd, 1949, the rival Basketball Association of America, BAA, and National Basketball League, NBL, merged to form the National Basketball Association, NBA. Representatives from the two leagues met at the BAA office in New York's Empire State Building to finalize the merger. The new NBA was made up of 17 teams that presented both small towns and large cities across the country.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Senchu points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go. MTN.
When John and Mary were 6 years old, they were introduced to savings by their parents and class teacher. They set dreams inspired by their saving clubs at school.
I'm saving for a ball. I'm saving for a school bag.
As time passed by, the set dreams were achieved, and they were further motivated to set fresh, bigger and better dreams, all of which came to pass.
I'm currently saving to buy a bicycle.
I'm now saving for an academic tour.
Dear parents, guardians and teachers, it is our duty to empower our children and people around us to make reasonable monetary choices and introducing a lifelong money-saving culture. Now is the time to start saving for our dreams and a much better tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the German Corporation, German Sparkassen Stiftung Eastern Africa, and Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit.
Therefore, understanding this model. Hey, excuse me, lady. Who do you think you are? A queen?
Hey, haven't you heard? Get Airtel Chillax bundles and browse like a queen.
Get Airtel Chillax bundles that do not expire and browse like a queen or king. Dial *175# or use My Airtel app.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Airtel Uganda has the best and most affordable rates when it comes to withdrawing and sending money. Withdraw money for as low as 330 shillings up to a maximum of 12,500 shillings. Sending money is just as affordable as ever. Absolutely unbeatable. Use Airtel Money on the most affordable network with the largest network of Airtel Money branches in Uganda. Dial *185# to get started. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Welcome back. And now in business news, in the aftermath of the 42 days lockdown, traders in downtown Kampala have embarked on stock taking, with those dealing in perishable commodities registering insurmountable losses. Many of the traders are stuck with expired products and are appealing for a 5-month tax waiver from government.
Ugandan companies are fragile and have relatively low cash flow coverage. Only about 15% of surveyed companies can sustain more than 3 months of operation on their current cash flow. Others must take adjustment measures to keep their profitability at a level that would allow their continued operation. 85% of all businesses are going to be in the financial distress after 3 months of lockdown measures, and it means that many companies may not be able to resume their businesses without access to liquidity. With the reopening of the economy, many businesses downtown Kampala remain fragile and are experiencing a relatively low cash flow coverage. Only about 15% of the surveyed businesses can sustain more than 3 months of operation on their current cash flow. The others, special dealing in perishable commodities, must take adjustment measures to keep their profitability at a level that would allow their continued operation, and many of the commodities are expired and not good for human consumption, and traders here are counting losses.
So on coming back, we have lost millions of money, which is going to take us not less than 5 months to recover. Because as you can see, some customers are now bringing back the returns to us here. That is already lost. We have nowhere to put apart from disposing it.
Recovery for most businesses is expected to take more than 3 months and possibly until the end of the year. 70% of the respondent businesses estimated their recovery time of more than 3 months, and only 4.1% believe that it will take 1 month or 3, whereas the remaining 25.6% envisage their recovery period of 1 to 3 months.
So it will be more than 50 in a month's time. That's why I gave an assessment that when we forecast, it will take us about 5 months to recover. Remember that the landlords are also in our case. We have to pay them even the months that we have not worked. And today is third. We have entered another month. We have to pay them. The government has not done anything like say we give this for a holiday for this period. And besides that, URA is also in our case. They have not given us a tax holiday. All those combined, it's a lot of money in a business.
However, traders here are seeking for government intervention on a tax holiday and landlords to waiver on rental areas.
As in rent, even they came here yesterday. They came yesterday. They told us to pay for the last month. And as per now, as you are seeing, you pay for the last month. And I haven't worked even. I have been home. I'm just reporting. So they want their money.
I would ask the government maybe those taxes to reduce for like a given period, such that we recover the behind the losses.
Meanwhile, tenants in Kiseka Market remain barred from accessing their stalls by landlords, and their shops sealed for failure to pay rent arrears for the last 1.5 months.
Netubadde tusaba government ebeeko bwetuyambire ogere ne balandi road pressure ekisusse twakadda tubadde tetukola batubanja ewaka batubanja amaduka we tulina okujja 10 baagasibye kati tetumanyi naffe kyakukola nga bwotwa tutudde butuuzi wano.
Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
And on sports, Uganda has boosted its chances for another medal at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics following an immaculate display by its representatives in the 5,000-meter men's heats. Oscar Chalimo was the first to make the final when he finished fourth in the heat 1 and that he completed in 13 minutes 39 seconds 7 microseconds. It was won by Kenyan Nicholas Kimeli with the top 5 that gained direct entry into the final completed by Mohamed Woody Kanted and Birano Balu, who finished second, third and fifth respectively. Moments after Chalimo had sealed his final place, his sibling Jacob Keplimo and world record holder Joshua Cheptegei started in the second heat. Ultimately, the Ugandan duo finished fourth and fifth respectively, with Kiplimo in 13 minutes 30 seconds and 22 microseconds and Cheptegei in 13 minutes 30 seconds 40 microseconds. This heat, won by Spanish Mohamed Katir in 13, 30 and 10, was the fastest of the two and has contributed more than half the field in Friday's final. Others directly through were Paul Chalimo and night jesting. The rules of engagement were that the top 5 from each heat gained direct qualification, while the best 5 across both heats from the others also entered. Friday's final provides Uganda with a big opportunity to add further medals on the silver and bronze from the men's 10,000 meter. Uganda is back in action on Wednesday with Winnie Nanyondo in the women's 1,500 meter semi-finals, while Perth Chemtai with a 3,000 meter steeplechase final. Now, FUFA President Engineer Moses Magago has unveiled Milton Mitchell as Uganda Cranes coach for the second stint. He will work with Livingstone Mbabazi as his assistant, while Fred Kajoba will be the goalkeeping coach.
He's not the right back. So, the back. Keep the mask on.
Well, that does sum it up. Let's take a look at the headlines before we wind up. Kabaka of Buganda Kingdom makes courtesy visit to President Yoweri Museveni. We shall not hesitate locking down Kampala again, Minister Kabanda threatens traders. While government is sued over continued closure of worship centers by city pastor and Muslim cleric. And in sports, Uganda's Chelimo, Cheptegei and Kiplimo enter 5,000 meter final. Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. We return at 10 o'clock with more details, but for now, the weather update.
A very warm welcome. It is time for the latest in weather. With St. Alex Kim from the Weather Center. We are having spillovers of isolated showers across a few areas within the country, though most of the country remains quite sunny and dry. Now, the kind of weather we are having is attributed to the moist southeasterlies that are coming into our region. The reason the eastern is quite a little bit active. That is also coupled with the effects of Lake Victoria alongside the mountains we have across the region. Tomorrow, we do expect to see some light chances of some light isolated rainfall across the eastern as well as the northern of the country. Though in the afternoon, we do expect a pickup of some rainfall that will be across the eastern of the region. And because of this, we do expect temperatures to be quite cool at 24 degrees centigrade across Mount Elgon area, and in Kampala we do expect at 26 degrees centigrade, whereas in Kabale Highlands we are forecasting at 25 degrees centigrade. And elsewhere across the globe we are forecasting for Abu Dhabi as well as London bright and sunny conditions, though in Cape Town we do expect cold conditions at only a daytime high of 19 degrees centigrade. With that, we wrap it up. Stay tuned and join us again tomorrow same time.
My names are Dr. Byanyima Rosemary Kusaba. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of